With Radio Algeria International, you will not miss a single major political or economic event. Radio Algeria International, our voice in the world.
This is the English service of Radio Algeria International. It's time for the news.
The Minister Delegate to the Minister of National Defense, Chief of Staff of the National People's Army, General Saïd Chingriha, has extended his best wishes to the INP personnel on the occasion of the New Year 2025. The Zionist occupation authorities demolished over 350 residential, commercial and agricultural facilities in the occupied city of Al-Quds during 2024, according to Palestinian reports. The Al-Damir Association for Human Rights has demanded that the United Nations Commission of Inquiry be set up to examine the circumstances surrounding the deaths of 54 Palestinian detainees in Zionist prisons since October 7, 2024. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail from Radio Algeria International. Good afternoon. First in our news, the Minister Delegate to the Minister of National Defense, Chief of Staff of the National People's Army, General Saïd Chingriha, has extended his best wishes to all ANP personnel on the occasion of the New Year 2025. On the occasion of this New Year 2025, I'm pleased to address all the personnel of the People's National Army, worthy ear of the National Liberation Army officers, non-commissioned officers, ranks and civilian personnel working on this pure land of Algeria, to offer them my best wishes, praying Almighty God to grant them and their families health, happiness, well-being and success in their noble missions in the years to come in the service of our homeland and our valiant people, wrote Army General Saïd Chingriha in his message of good wishes. In its first issue, the magazine Algeria Gate has devoted a long analytical article detailing the betrayal suffered by Emir Abdelkader on the hands of Morocco. The article looked at the Moroccan Sultan Abdelrahman's alliance with French colonialism against the resistance led by Emir Abdelkader against an enemy served more by Moroccan treachery against Algeria than by its weapons. More details with our colleague Masoud Shrafi.
Created recently to enrich the national media landscape, the magazine Algeria Gate published in its inaugural issue a special report entitled The Kingdom of Treason, A Throne for Rent. The article repeated material already published by the American newspaper The New York Times, which had dissected the dimensions of Moroccan treasons to Emir Abdelkader, a leader who bravely resisted the colonial enemy for many years. The magazine discussed at length the content of the press article in the New York Times in its issue of 25 February 1873, pointing out that this episode of history continues to haunt the Makhzen forever. The article relates unforgettable betrayal suffered by Emir Abdelkader after the Moroccan Sultan Abdurrahman bin Hisham concluded an agreement in 1844, an agreement known as the Treaty of Tangier with colonial France, under which he renounced his support for Emir Abdelkader. Worse still, the Moroccan Sultan sent his army to surround Emir Abdelkader and lend a helping hand to the French troops. In a letter addressed to the Egyptian ulamas of the Al-Azhar, Emir Abdelkader deplored the servility and fickleness of the Alawite monarchy, openly accusing Sultan Abdurrahman of treason, the article recounts. Citing the article in the New York Times, the magazine went on to details of the French treason of which Emir Abdelkader was a victim, as was that of Morocco. In the wake of this betrayal, the magazine also reported on the looting of Emir Abdelkader's property by the French colonial power. The magazine devoted a large section to the biography of Emir Abdelkader, described as a true statesman and man of war, recalling that he had led numerous battles against the French colonial power, notably the battles of Mostaganem, Tafna, and Tsikak.
And the Sahih al-Bukhari Reading Council has been inaugurated in Jam' al-Jazair on the occasion of the advent of the month of Rajab of the Hijri year 1460 or 46. The Dean of Jam' al-Jazair, Sheikh Muhammad Ma'moon al-Qasimi al-Husseini, inaugurated the council with an opening speech in which he recalled the virtues of the month of Rajab, marking the anniversary of the Isra and Mi'raj night journey. He pointed out that Palestine, the land of Isra and Mi'raj, is living the worst days in its history due to the genocidal war, injustice and displacement inflicted on the Palestinian people, an unprecedented situation in history. Thousands of people have taken part in a massive demonstration in the streets of Manhattan in New York, USA, to protest against the continuation of the bloody crimes committed by the Zionist occupiers in the Gaza Strip since October 23. Wafa news agency reported today that participants in the demonstration, called by several activists on social networks, brandished on the first day of the year the Palestinian flag and banners denouncing the continuation of Zionist massacres, while calling for an end to the genocide in Gaza and to the unlimited support for the Zionist entity. The Zionist occupier and its settlers launched 2,977 attacks on Palestinian Bedouin communities in the occupied West Bank in 2024, according to a local Bedouin rights group. In a statement, the Al-Baydar Organization for the Defense of the Bedouin Community said that these attacks had caused 67 Bedouin communities comprising 340 families to move in 2024. The Zionist occupation authorities demolished over 350 residential, commercial, and agricultural facilities in the occupied city of Al-Quds during 2024, according to Palestinian reports. Our colleague Saad Bougazi has more details in this report.
According to the reports relayed by the media, the Zionist occupation demolished more than 350 residential, commercial, and agricultural facilities in the course of the year 2024, including 266 demolished by occupation bulldozers and 84 demolished by force by their Palestinian owners. According to the sources, this year's demolition operations affected 2 mosques, while dozens of families are awaiting their fate after the occupation informed them that their residential or commercial installations would be. Demolition operations peaked in July when the occupation destroyed 61 homes, followed by 42 in December, in addition to 40 facilities in November. Demolitions are an essential element of the Zionist policy of settlements in the occupied West Bank and East Al-Quds, which aims to strengthen control over the territory. As part of its expansionist project, the Zionist entity has approved or implemented more than 43 settlement projects in Al-Quds during the year 2024, including settlement outposts, new settlements, tunnels, roads, gardens, towers, industrial and commercial zones, and services for the benefit of the settlers, while Jewish settlers under the protection of the Zionist occupation forces forcibly evacuated more than 5 buildings from Al-Quds and confiscated 13 parcels of land in the Holy City, including thousands of dunums. 1 dunum is equivalent to 1,000 square meters, according to the reports.
And the Al-Damir Association for Human Rights has demanded that the UN or United Nations Commission for Inquiry be set up to examine the circumstances surrounding the deaths of 54 Palestinian detainees in Zionist prisons since 7 October 2023. Said Bougazi has more.
The head of the Al-Damir Association in the Gaza Strip, Ala Skafi, quoted by the media, said that the deaths in the last few days of 5 prisoners in detention represents a policy aimed at executing all Palestinian prisoners. According to Ala Skafi, retaliatory measures against detainees, particularly during the initial stages of detention, involve torture, some of the most severe forms of repression, and ongoing abuses. He stressed the need for immediate action by the International Committee of the Red Cross, calling on it to assume its responsibility to extend its visits to military camps and prisons in order to unveil the appalling conditions there. Skafi also demanded that a UN Commission of Inquiry be set up to investigate the circumstances surrounding the deaths of 54 detainees since 7 October 2023. He stated that in the absence of national and international monitoring, the continued practice of medical negligence will inevitably lead to an increase in the number of martyrs in prisons. According to human rights organizations, this phase is the bloodiest in the history of the prisoners' movement since 1967. According to the Palestinian authorities, the Zionist entity is currently holding 11,600 Palestinians in its jails. These include 3,428 administrative detainees, 90 women, and at least 345 children.
Still in the Middle East, the Zionist occupation continues to ignore requests to allow the International Committee of the Red Cross to visit Palestinian detainees who are suffering from inhumane conditions of detention, according to the Wafa news agency. The occupation authorities have submitted a new request to the Zionist Supreme Court to postpone consideration for a petition submitted in February by the ICRC to visit Palestinian detainees, reports Wafa. The World Bowling Association has announced the withdrawal of the invitation for Zionist players to take part in the World Indoor Bowling Championship scheduled to take place in Britain this month. The Bowling Association said in a statement that the participation of Zionist bowlers in the Scottish International Open last August led to a significant escalation of related political concerns. The statement continued, as a result of the sharply escalated situation, the Board of Directors of the World Bowling League, in consultation with our tournament partners and other interested parties, took the decision to withdraw the invitation of the Zionist entity to participate in the upcoming World Indoor Bowling Championships. And the Palestinian Research Center has revealed that the Zionist occupiers and their settlers uprooted more than 59,000 trees in the occupied West Bank in the course of 2024. In a recent report published on Wednesday, the Land Research Center, a non-governmental organization based in Al-Quds, described 2024 as the year of the madness of Zionist colonialism and the hemorrhaging of Palestinian land. The center said violations included the uprooting of 59,163 trees. The Zionist authorities have also confiscated around 50,000 dunams, or 5,000 hectares of West Bank land throughout the year, according to the center. And the Zionist entity has carried out its demolition of houses in southern Lebanon in a continuous violation of the ceasefire agreement announced on November 27. Field resources reported that the Zionist entity has blown up houses in Aita Sha'ab town, whereas the occupying army soldiers have set several houses on fire in Aitaron town in Beit Jibel district. The Lebanese army has confirmed the occupation's persistence in the violation of the ceasefire agreement, its assault on Lebanon's sovereignty, and the destruction of the southern town and villages. It is worth noting that Zionist occupying forces are present in more than 30 bordering towns and villages, despite the ceasefire agreement of November 27th, under which the occupying forces are supported or are supposed to withdraw from those areas within 60 days. And in Yemen, international and regional humanitarian aid organizations have denounced the Zionist aggression that targeted the airport, harbors, and power stations, and said that millions of civilians will bear the brunt of this aggression, according to media resources. In a joint statement signed by dozens of organizations, including the Danish Council of Refugees, the International Rescue Committee, the Mary Stopes International Association in Yemen, and Oxfam, the latter expressed concern about the consequences of the escalation on civilians in the country. And finally, the Central Directorate for Political Bureau of the Sahrawi People's Liberation Army stated that the Sahrawi Army has targeted the strongholds of the occupying Moroccan Army's various frontal and rear bases. The Sahrawi news agency highlighted in a statement that advanced detachments have carried out intense shelling of an occupying Moroccan Army's base in the district of Ashraq Lagrab in the Katla sector. The attacks of the Popular Sahrawi Liberation Army continue to inflict heavy losses in soldiers and ammunition among the ranks of the Moroccan occupation army along and behind the sand wall, including frontal rear command centers, supply centers, and enemy support bases. And with this last piece of news, we come to the end of this news bulletin for today. Time now for a weekly program, or a special program devoted to the main events that marked the year 2024 with our colleague Asya Bakar. As for me, I'll meet you again tomorrow for a fresh edition of our news bulletin in English. Until then, stay tuned to Radio Algeria International, and bye-bye for now.